interesting. It's not happening yet, but they're looking to make daylight saving time permanent as soon as next year. Meaning, you know how you just switched your clocks over the weekend? You won't have to do that anymore. It would make those afternoons in the winter a little bit brighter. It would make the mornings a little bit darker. Obviously, this still has to go to the House, but I want to bring in NBC News correspondent Leanne Caldwell because, Leanne, like this, talk about something that affects every American, or most Americans, right, unless you live in maybe Arizona or Hawaii, but like, to even think about the fact that maybe we're officially done with daylight saving is sort of weird. What's the deal?
So, Holly, I think every parent with young children would probably jump up and down at this news. As you know, their body clocks, kids' body clocks do not change very easily. But yeah, so the Senate just passed by unanimous consent. There was no vote, and that means all 100 senators agreed, which is also very rare in the Senate, to keep daylight savings time. This is something that is bipartisan. It has 17 co-sponsors, Republicans and Democrats, and the top Republicans in the Senate, they were gaggling with reporters when this actually happened on the Senate floor. So Senator John Thune, the number 2, who is responsible for counting Republican votes, had no idea this happened, and he was even shocked that it passed. But he said it's something that pretty much everyone agrees with. So, of course, as you mentioned, it then goes to the House of Representatives. We have no update yet if the House is going to take up this bill. But if they do, and if it passes, then it goes to the president's desk where he can either sign it into law or veto it. But I have a feeling that if he were to veto it, that would be overruled given how popular this idea is on Capitol Hill, Holly.
So is this real? Like, could this really be, it sounds like it is, Leanne. It could be something that actually really passes sometime soonish?
It could. It's something that every daylight savings time, every time the clock is about to shift, there's members of Congress, Republicans and Democrats, House members, senators, who come to the floor and rail about the time change. They bring up legislation. This is something that happens every year, twice a year. And finally, legislation, this bill, has passed. And so, again, like you said, it has to go to the House. But it is real, and it could happen. So we'll see where this goes, Holly. It's
so
very exciting with many parents.
Leanne Caldwell, thank you so much.
Hello, good people. This is your guy, Mr. Educator, Mr. Communicator, Mr. Free Thinker, coming back at you live once again from the Lone Star State with another edition of the Media Mike Speaks. All right, good people. Yes, it is 35 minutes past the hour, and yes, we are the voice of the everyday citizen. All right, good people. As you saw in the video, yeah, I saw this today, and I just wanted to give my thoughts on this. So the Senate is voting to make daylight saving time permanent. Well, good people, I don't know what they mean by permanent. I mean, why don't you just do away with the daylight saving time? Is that what you're saying? You see, there's nothing, the only thing that's permanent is the seasons, pretty much. Nothing permanent about the time here. That was imposed by mankind. So they apparently approved this to make it permanent, I guess, to particularly one time. So my question is, which one they're going to use? Are they going to use fall back or spring forward? See, which one? They didn't say that. They didn't mention that. You know, as they gave a little backstory here, it started in the United States in 1918 to create more daylight hours during warmer months. I don't understand. How can you create more daylight hours? I don't understand. How is that possible for you to create more daylight hours? You see, 7 o'clock is 7 o'clock, whether it gets dark sooner or it's still light outside. What that means is that winter is coming when the days get shorter. When the days begin to get longer, then that's spring going into summer. See, mankind knew that back in the day. They knew that. The hunters, you know, the people that lived out in the agriculture area, out in the rural area, they knew that. The Indians, they knew that. The Africans, they knew that. So I don't understand what you mean your time is going to give more hours during warmer month. Your clock has nothing to do with the seasons. It's just a natural state of the earth. You can leave the time alone. The bottom line is you're going to know winter is coming because the days are going to get short. It's going to get darker sooner. Nothing to do with a clock. That's the most ridiculous thing ever heard of. You know why? Because the states that are not required to follow daylight savings time are Hawaii and most of Arizona do not observe it. And get this, good people, it was extended by 4 weeks starting in 2007, where it started to go a little longer, and then you put your clock up or back. This is the most ridiculous thing I ever heard of in my life. I never understood the purpose of us falling back and springing forward anyway, when it was the seasons who determined. The seasons changed. That's how people knew that winter was coming. The days were getting shorter. The weather was changing. It's something to do with the fact that, it's 7 o'clock, it's pitch black now. It's just the fact that it's still 7, whether it's daylight in the spring or getting darker in the winter. It's still 7 o'clock. There's no need to go back and forward. Now, they're going to have to give me a little bit more explanation on this, or maybe somebody else could, because I just think it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of, going back and forth with this. That's why they're saying we're just going to make it permanent. I just want to know, are you going to use the fall back or the spring forward? So it says it's time for Congress to take up our bipartisan legislation to make daylight saving time permanent and brighten the coldest months with an extra hour of afternoon sun. So I guess we're going to fall back. No, it says the coldest months we're going to spring forward. So we're going to go up and stay up. Is that the plan? That's the plan. I think it doesn't matter which way we do it. The weather's the season's still going to change. Anyway, I hope this passes. No Sleepy Joe wakes up on this one. So anyway, good people, just thought I'd give my 2 cents. This is your guy, Mr. Educator, Mr. Communicator, Mr. Free Thinker. Subscribe, share, and like to keep me rocking on the mic. Have a good night.
Understand you soon, it won't be long. Keep on, keep on.